recorded this to Discom.
They know me anyway.
Okay. Yeah, recording has started. So, um, yeah, we're just here with Ben, just chatting around UX portfolios and stuff, and just like live stuff. And I'd say we'd kick it off. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
nice.
about we start? How about we start where you can. So the purpose of this call, this kind of recording, is to like get Ben to share his portfolio and his experience, which is pretty unique as a content designer. We'll find out more about that, and I'm gonna ask him questions, and we're gonna have a look at his portfolio, and hopefully this will be a huge help to beginner designers, especially in Bulgaria. But even if it's outside of that, just overall, how do you build a cool portfolio that does the job? Maybe we can talk about freelancing. We can talk about landing your first job or any
Hmm.
job for that matter as well. So,
Cool.
whenever you're ready, Ben, you could just like share your screen and yeah, present yourself. And maybe we can start with just the overall portfolio feel without going into any specific project, and maybe then we can have a look at a specific case study
Yeah,
in that.
yeah, no problem. So shall I just share one of my Chrome tabs then with the portfolio on it?
Yep, yep, sounds great. Let's
Okay.
go.
So can you? I've got quite a few open. I'll try this one.
Yeah, it's
Can
always
you
like the
can you see?
Yep, I see it. I see it.
You
It's
see the
looking
tabs
great.
as well.
Looking great. Yep, I see the tabs as well. Yep.
Nice. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's you can see all my bookmarks as well. So yeah, let's crack on. Yeah, thanks for inviting me to the call. Nice to be here. Nice to chat with you over the internet. How do you say it? Yeah, nice to chat with you virtually here.
Right.
But yeah, I can.
Virtual, yeah.
Nice to chat with you on the web. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the internet
Likewise.
internet.com. No, but let's crack it. So you can see my screen. You can see my portfolio website.
Yep, 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 yep.
Okay, so I'll give you a little tour. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Ben. I started off my career as a copywriter, transitioning into UX full time in 2020. Um, so, my angle as a designer, it's not just UX UI designer generalist, that's it, boom, flat. No, it's a combination of content design and product design because when you're changing your careers or when you're transitioning into something there is this temptation to drop everything you've done before and just totally run with the new thing, which is
Hmm.
something I don't agree with because you're essentially discarding a lot of progress you've made in your career and starting from scratch. From my experience, the best approach is to combine your strengths with something you're learning or something you've learned. And that's the best way to position yourself from a unique angle. Um, because it's not a good idea to position yourself as a generalist. If I were to say I'm a content designer and nothing else,
Yeah.
brilliant. You're in the pool of all the other content designers. What makes you unique compared to all the other content designers? Or even worse, if you say, oh, I'm a UX UI designer and nothing else, well, brilliant.
Hmm.
There's 500 million billion UX designers in the world. Why should they hire
Yeah.
you over another UX UI designer? So the
Yeah.
point I'm trying to get at is it's all about finding a good niche and making
And
yourself
your edge, right?
memorable.
As a designer, what is your edge? What are you special with? This is a great advice. I love how you started this off because I have so many conversations with people and see so many portfolios on a daily basis, and it's all the same stuff. It's good portfolios, okay?
Mhm.
It works. It works. I can see that the person has experience or has some basic knowledge, but what I also see is they all took the same courses, they did the same tutorials, they did the same stuff, and I'm just looking at the same case studies, the same projects, and
Yep.
nobody's really taking any steps, like any bold steps towards what you just said. Like, what are you good at? What are you coming from? And
Mm.
for example, I had a message from somebody who asked me, "Hey, do you think I could switch to UX? I'm right now a product owner, and I do quite a UX in my company right now. Actually, he works in a startup, so I guess there's a lot of hats being put. But And the way that he asked me and he approached me was like he was really lacking confidence and he was really not sure about this. He wanted to do it, but he was really like, I don't know. I've been a program like, man, like this is so special that you have this. Do you know how many designers can come in with product like management, like business side of view knowledge, and
Hmm.
especially the product side of things? That's so unique. That's so special for a product design to be able to understand and navigate this thing. And a lot of people are coming for graphic design, so
Yep.
they should switch that around. So everybody should kind of have their story, right? So what is your story? Like inspire us. I see you definitely have a point of view on that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, my background, I started off my career working in Germany. So a bit about myself, it's quite an important USP is I'm half German. So
Okay.
I've largely worked and lived in Germany most of my adult life before spending a considerable amount of time in Bulgaria in the last few years. Um, so I worked in-house before the days of remote work and ChatGPT, and I used to live in Munich. So I started off interning large what I was best at, which was copywriting and writing long form content. So a lot of
Mm,
my tasks and jobs revolved around translation and creating
mm,
long form copies for SEO, for blog posts, translating from German into English. Writing in German is a different ball game to English
mm.
altogether. But also mainly creating web copy. So I guess that's where the journey started.
Okay.
I was doing this for about 5 years before I discovered UX writing, which for many copywriters these days is a natural transition. But the difference between copywriting in a marketing context and UX writing in a product context is comparing apples and oranges. But I
Mm,
got my first taste of this working at a startup in Berlin back in 2019. So my job there was working as a marketing copywriter. So again, this was pre-ChatGPT days. This was
yeah.
manually creating. I don't think these jobs will be around anymore due to the automation and costs
Mm,
saved by company not having to
yeah.
pay copywriters for this sort of thing anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but my job was largely lead generation through words. Had still
Okay.
met people at the time. So
So can you just stop you for a second? Can we say for the people that watching this, who might not know, well, first of all, what is copywriting? What is marketing copywriting?
yeah,
What is what did you just say? What did you just say? Oh, wait, I lost it. Sorry, I also had a few
difference
hours of sleep.
between marketing copywriting and UX writing.
Yep, that as well. And yeah, let's start there. Let's see what like those are.
Um, the big the
Like in
big
very simple terms, like what do you do? What does a person do
Oh, sorry,
in this position?
I'm rambling a little bit.
No, 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 that's fine. That's fine. You're not. No,
So
no, don't worry.
I started off my UX career in UX writing. Happy to explain more about what exactly that is because it's still
Mm-hmm.
it's getting less and less niche, but it's still a relatively niche domain of UX UI design. But I transitioned into actual UX design, product design 5 years ago. I decided to I had my first taste of experience. And I decided to fully jump in and absorb myself into the world of product design by yeah, doing a full-time boot camp. I was like, okay, I want to retrain. I want to do this full time. But fast forward to where I am now in 2025, I've combined the copywriting, the UX writing, as I mentioned before, together with the experiences in product design together. So many designers split content design and product design. They think, oh, I don't need copy to be a good designer. That's just a bonus. The writer will do that. And content designers working in big organizations are like, well, I'm not responsible for the design system. I'm the UX designer is going to do that. That's generally how organizations are structured. I combine them. And that's particularly beneficial in startups and scale-ups who don't have clear divisions of who does what, which is more common in large companies. This is
Yeah.
particularly beneficial for multidisciplinary designers in startups who are expected to wear more hats at the same time
Mm-hmm.
compared to someone who's employed at billion-dollar company somewhere on the Nasdaq on the New York Stock Exchange. It's like it's like I am a UX designer. I'm going to do this and this only. Whereas in small
Hmm.
organizations, as I said, you're expected to wear more hats. And this is where this combination of content design and product design, this merging is hugely beneficial because at the end of the day, they count towards the same thing. They count towards the user experience of your site. Let's say you have a really nice site with nice graphics, nice UI. It looks great, but the wording is all off. It's full of spelling
Hmm.
errors, full of microcopy that doesn't make any sense. It's full of culturally incorrect terms. Like, for example,
Hmm.
let's say you had a bank in the UK, um, or even better, let's say you have an HR tool in the UK, and the word for holiday, which is what we use in Britain, was vacations. Instantly,
Hmm.
that's more of a negative user experience because the way British people think is that we're quite sort of uptight about the language. We really care about things like the Britishisms over Americanisms. If we see a
Hmm.
word with a Z in it, we think, no, that's too American. And all of a sudden, you can see my forehead is already frowning a bit. That's
Uh-huh.
generally not all, but how a lot of British people would approach a product.
Yeah.
For example, the
Okay.
case of vacations over holidays. If you don't have a culturally inept UX writer, a Brit is going to be like, nah, this is an American tool. And all of a sudden, your brain is going to start moving off in different directions. And then questions are going to be asked like, yeah, is this really That's just a tiny, tiny little example. It takes a UX writer to know that this audience doesn't use that term. They won't know what that is. Is this a label we can validate in terms of microcopy?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I would argue that the copy is actually the first thing the user sees, and it's the most important functional UX in terms of getting the user from A to B without the user asking too many questions about them being stumped and being like, oh, well, what does that mean? I don't get it. It's telling me one thing. Oh, you know what? I'm going to use a competitor. That's the value.
Mm.
And it's often overlooked. Um, yeah, without going off in too many directions, without giving you the opportunity to ask more questions as well. Yeah,
Uh,
that's
so as I said, a big portion of the, so first of all, thank you for all this. It sounds
yeah,
really interesting, and you are giving a lot of different interesting points of view on the topic of, first of all, what is good design? It's not just visuals, right? It's the language, it's the wording, and that's what copy is. When you say copy, that's like the words, the sentences, all of the text basically that goes into a design.
yeah,
And we're not even talking about typography here, right? We're not talking about how the text looks, how it's structured, the hierarchy, like the visual structure, typography thing of the text. We're talking about what the text says,
yeah,
with what are the words being used, how many words, where exactly, how does it communicate, how does it help the user understand what's going on.
yeah,
And you even like mentioned something very interesting, which is like a cultural thing
yeah,
of British people, and how much they care about their own kind of language specificities that are different than the
yeah,
US one, for example. So
yeah.
that's also pretty cool because like we want to understand where our users stand in terms of like mindset and how they understand what we're telling them and stuff. So when you say content design,
Mm.
what does that mean? Like, can you explain that to a 5-year-old?
Content design, it's clues in the name. It's designing with content, designing with words. And that's not just what the words are, it's also deciding whether a page needs copy as an additional explainer or if this copy is actually adds more friction as part of the whole user experience. If I were to summarize this for a 5-year-old, like the subreddit, explain me like I'm five, it's essentially designing, as I mentioned before, it's essentially designing but with copy. Like if you look at an empty page, let's say you have a blank slate and it's all Lorem Ipsums,
Hmm.
there's content that needs to be designed there. And it's not just placing things for the sake of it, like, oh, let's just place some random words here. There's
Hmm.
strategy behind it. And content design is about that process of adding the strategy of the strategy of adding the content as part of a product. It's like an iceberg. What you see
Mm.
right at the top is a piece of microcopy. Give an example. You know, Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, I
Everyone
love
knows
it.
Spotify. Everyone knows Spotify Wrapped, and they know it as
Yeah,
Spotify Wrapped. I guarantee you, even the term Spotify Wrapped was the result of hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment. Because if
yeah,
they get it wrong, users are going to be like, "Well, what the hell is Spotify music summarized this year? It's too long. It doesn't really fit the theme." However,
yeah,
the fact they've called it Spot this is an example I love to use. The fact they call it Spotify Wrapped, they absolutely tested that with different users, and the
for
process
sure.
also includes selecting the users, what questions are you going to ask the users, what content are you going to show the users, what prototypes are you going to show the users, what's important for them. And at
Yeah.
the result, and at the end, in terms of copy, you have the microcopy wrapped, done.
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
result of hundreds of thousands of hours and dollars of investment for sure.
definitely. Yeah,
So
and it's really cool how they play with it when you open it and they say, "Well, it's a wrap," and it's just like makes so much sense. It comes together really nicely.
that was not the result of one brainstorming meeting. Let's go wrap now, because
Yeah.
I would say honestly, the most important thing with content design is that there's a million ways of getting copy wrong, and there's only a few ways of getting it less wrong. The process
Hmm.
is about the process is about the copy being as less wrong as possible.
Yeah.
Um, because it's very easy for users to go like, what does that mean? And the threshold for the user to start thinking is very, very low. How our job is to play around within this area below the threshold, where the
Okay.
user goes, okay, that I guess that kind of makes sense, and that's the best
Hmm.
you can hope for.
Yeah.
The goal
There's not
isn't
even
to,
a moment where, sorry to cut you. There's not even a moment where it's like, wait, what? Let me read that again, right? It's just that it just flows.
yeah,
You're not even thinking that you're reading. It just flows
yeah.
naturally kind of through you.
And getting to that stage is very, very, very fiddly. It's like you're knitting all day, basically.
Hmm. That's an interesting comparison. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So, uh, before diving in, like a last question, if somebody watching this is right now as they're watching it very inspired by what you're doing. They're telling themselves, "Oh, I'm seeing myself in this, and I like this. I like copy. I like writing, and
Mm.
I like UX as well. And I would love to be able to combine them, but I have no experience yet. I don't know where to start. What would you advise them? How does one become a UX copywriter or a content designer?"
Mm. Every journey is different. It's quite hard to say because there is no universal experience. Most people I know work in content design, they fall into it because they tend to be avid readers, or they tend to enjoy writing, and it's just a natural transition. It's not that you wake up one day, you're doing something totally different, and you wake up and have a brainwave and say, as of today, I'm going to be a content designer. Yesterday, I was this
Right,
person, now I'm this person. It's never like that.
right. Mm.
There's a
Okay.
case of so for me, with my story is content designing, UX writing, by the way, the terms content designing, UX writing, they're very, very similar. There's not that much difference between them for those asking if there's any difference.
Mm.
Um, so UX writing, content designing, was more of a niche back was starting out. It's less of a niche now. Particularly, it's evolving quickly with AI and things, but that's another topic. For me, it was a natural transition. If you're working as a copywriter, if you're working in a career which caters well to UX writing, then there's less friction to becoming a content designer. But it also depends on the organization you work for, because different organizations have different attitudes towards copy work. Some organizations, notably Yotpo, where I used to work as well, have um, have a more modern approach to, have a more intuitive approach to copy, and they recognize the importance of it. Many other companies see it as a lorem ipsum, that
Mm.
can just be filled with ChatGPT at the end. So there's different kind of companies and different kind of attitudes. Some companies place more emphasis on content design. And that's where you have more opportunities to merge into this field. And some organizations, it's not seen as a thing at all. That's often where marketing copywriters are. I used to do this as well, by the way, at other companies, where marketing copywriters are looped in at the end in a brainstorming with people in sales or customer service.
Yeah.
They're looped in, and then you're like, "Hey, what do you think this word should be? Let's wrap it up in 5 minutes on a Friday at 4:55." And that is the
Yeah.
shocking normality for seriously. That is the shocking normality for a
Oh
lot of
my God.
companies. So it's also about being lucky, about what organization you work in, and also being good at marketing what content design actually is, because 90% of people outside of tech don't know what content design is. They don't know what UX design is. They think it's coding because UX sounds technical, which it really
Yeah.
is. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, there isn't one route to becoming a content designer. I would say the most important things are be in the know people who are also content designers.
Hmm.
Your network goes way further than you think. If you know
Mm.
someone that works at a company and there's a content design role going, brilliant, that's your lead. Go for it. Um, and also, a really important one is interest. As I said before, a lot of content is written for 55 on a Friday. Yeah, let's wrap it up. Well, that shows a lack of interest for content generally. If
Yeah.
you care about the words of a product, and most importantly, if you care about the user experience, you'll know that one of the most important ways the user gets from A to B is by scanning, by reading content through buttons. It's, by the way, it's not just long form, it's buttons, it's headlines, it's the strategic setup of how the copy harmonizes together with a design. It's it's having a fundamental interest in UX, I would say, is the most important foundation for getting you eventually to a content design role.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much to unpack here. So first of all, um I want to revisit something you mentioned about the value that the company sees in this thing, and I would say that's huge in design overall. Not just it, in the copy or the content of it, but like in design and UX. I've worked in organizations where they didn't value it, they didn't see it as important, they just saw it as pixel, they just saw it as something that needs to get done with as quick as possible.
Yeah.
What do you mean research? What do you mean strategy? What do you mean getting added to the meeting? As you said, like you are being invited to a random meeting, as you said, at the end of a day, and you're just being told, hey, here are all these decisions that we did
Mm,
that you should take all these requirements, all this stuff that you have no context about or why they were taken or what the hell was going on, and you just need to turn them into designs as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of tomorrow type thing, so that we
yeah.
can start with development as soon as possible. So um it's just an advice for everybody watching this is to scan and watch out for these red flags, because that is a red flag, and
Mm,
it really sucks being stuck in a situation like that, because then you're there and you think UX sucks as a profession and it's not what you were being told, but it's not like that everywhere. But it's a huge chance that your first jobs are going to be kind of like that. But don't worry, you're going to land in a place where right now, currently, I'm in a company like this. I mean, I really in the yacht pod, there's a lot of emphasis on good design and the value of good design, and not just that, just everybody puts a lot of importance on this, and it's a different thing when you're in an environment like that. And another thing I wanted to say is what you mentioned about the network that you have of people, and
yeah.
that what did you say? You said in a very cool way your network reaches far beyond the new thing or
Yeah.
something like that. It sounded really cool when you said it, and I I cannot agree with this more, because like or less, or I mean I totally agree with this is what I'm trying to say, because it's
Couldn't agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because people are really not people tend to do so much. They tend to do too much on their own, and oftentimes it's not really getting you anywhere without your network, without knowing people. And I know what a lot of you are going to think. I don't know anybody. What am I supposed to do? I don't know anybody. What am I supposed to do? Well, there are so many things that you can do actually. And Ben was just telling me before we started the recording how he listens to a specific uh what was it, a podcast about UX writing, and we're
That's
gonna
yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
right.
yeah, we're gonna mention that in the comments. But he would listen to that, and the people that he would listen to the talk there, he would connect with them, right?
Hmm.
And that's a huge thing. And by the way, the UX community, not just in Bulgaria, but overall in the world, is so responsive. Like I've texted so many people that I've watched courses of them, and I've watched, seen and read content by them, like Sophia Prater, the the person behind object-oriented UX, not the person behind object orientation as the thing and the object as the term, but the UX part of it, the UX kind of point of view of that thing. And then I have other people like Joel Natoli is somebody who I follow and I really like, and he's always been very responsive to my comments, to my messages. So these are all people like you can reach out and just I mean, we have the internet, guys. You have social media. Like building a network has never been easy. And not just that, there's so many events, especially just in Sofia, there's so many events. And not just that, you can just reach out to people, build connections. I think, to be honest, that's probably the most important thing. It's more important than your portfolio. It's more important than so many things because with the right connections, you just get pointed at, you just get invited to an interview. So nobody even looks at your portfolio. Yeah, they'll ask you to present work,
Yeah.
but they don't need to see a portfolio, And sometimes we spend so much time on building a portfolio, like months,
So here.
and so
Yeah.
much time, like too much time. Sometimes I'm I love portfolios and I love talking about portfolios and giving advice about portfolio. But before even going there, I like to take a step back and just think about how important that is and how much of a part it should be part of your strategy. Because what is the point of a portfolio to me is getting invited to an interview. I don't know if it goes any further than that. And just bragging about it with your friends while drinking beer, which is not really giving you any value, but just feeling good about yourself. But the main
Mhm.
point of a portfolio is just like, oh, okay, he got the skills or she got the skills, bring him over for an interview. And from then on, I mean, it's not really, and I mean, it depends on what your goal is. That's why when people send me their portfolios, I will ask them, what is your goal with this? It might be to
Mhm.
get some freelance work. Then the portfolio is going to look different. It might be going into a company or something and it's going to look different. It might be, it's different stuff. It's different
Mhm.
stuff. So that really depends. And yeah. The last thing I wanted to say is writing content on the internet, as we are on the topic of content, like sharing content online. I think that's something that people are not doing enough, and I'm never gonna stop screaming about it and kind of going Gary V on everyone with this thing is like
Simon Sinek and all
it's like it's kind of cliche, but it's so important, right? I mean, everything, and I'm my career is nothing special. It's a humble thing, but I've gotten somewhere where other people are really trying to get there, and I could say that I've never applied to jobs, or when I've applied to jobs, I never got a response. All the jobs that I've had is somebody knocked on my door. All the jobs that I've had, somebody knocked on my door. When I went
that.
on knocking on people's doors, nobody opens the door. Nobody gives a, I'm not gonna say what. And I think that's what kind of brings people down and kind of crushes their spirit as they are texting me. A lot of people saying, "Hey, I'm trying. I'm really. I've sent more than 100, you know, um, applications for jobs and nothing. I'm not hearing anything. Like, what am I doing wrong?" And sometimes it's not about what you're doing. Like, even if you were perfect on paper, they might not even just pay attention to you because they're paying attention to something else, somebody who was pointed at from someone internally. So building connections and building your audience and building your voice and
Mhm.
becoming known is in a way and just having people pay attention to you is very important. And just gonna say last thing, sorry for kind of stealing the stage here, is about writing content, right? First
Yep.
thing that pops in people's heads is, I don't know shit. Excuse my French. I don't know shit. Why would I share anything? I don't know anything. I'm not an expert. Why would everybody listen to me? Everybody would think I'm an asshole. And that's not, and people get it wrong. It's not about you sharing knowledge. It's not about you going out there and be like, oh, look at me, look at what I did,
Mm,
which is a huge portion of what people are doing on LinkedIn. I'm not a fan of that. I don't
yep.
think people care about what you did. They
No.
care about the value for them in what you did. So share what you learned, share how you failed and how you tried again and what you learned, and help somebody else. And I think that's the interesting stories. And look at LinkedIn or whatever you want to share your content at. Just look at it as if it's your journal and you're just telling your story. Okay. And you are just being like, hey, just very humble. Hey, this is me. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I tried. This is how I failed. This is what I learned. This is what I'm going to try next. So wish me luck. And you're just telling your story. And I think there's a lot of value in this. And this can get you so far in life. I really honestly, truly 100% believe in that. And I'm never
Mm,
going to stop kind of preaching about it. And I hope more people kind of take that. So
yeah.
sorry for stealing the stage.
No, not to be a typical podcast guest who agrees with everything the host says, but yeah, I totally agree with 100% of everything you said there. Not to be like, yes, that's an excellent point. Yes, 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 yes. But like, no, genuinely, because that also totally mirrors my experience. So, um, if I can add quickly about LinkedIn, LinkedIn
Mm,
is a really interesting one because it used to start off as just a job board, essentially. Like, I don't know, when it started like 10 years ago or so. But
yeah.
then it slowly turned into this big Pandora's box full
I
of,
used to hate it. I used to hate it. I was afraid of it, man. I was like, oh my God, what the hell?
I
Like,
still, yeah, I still hate it, but there is, but it's extremely addictive
mm.
because fundamentally, LinkedIn is probably the most effective marketing tool you have.
Oh yeah,
It's the easiest,
it's crazy.
as I mentioned, what's really important in whatever, not just as a designer, but in whatever job, whatever industry you work in, or whatever job you would like. Posting on LinkedIn is free. And this is the number one place that you can connect with potential clients, or you can connect with recruiters, or connect with people in the industry to make yourself well known. But there's a very fine art of getting LinkedIn right, and there's a very, very easy way, in my opinion, of getting LinkedIn wrong. So this it's like a double-edged sword. On the flip side, on the bad side, as you come home from work, you've worked really hard and you're like, right, I don't want to do anything because your brain is now hacked by the dopamine response that LinkedIn triggers, just like Facebook and Instagram. That's how it's designed. You
Hmm.
come home and then you're seeing people post about how their 5-year-old child has already made an LLM chatbot, which integrates B2B service automation together with user segmentation insights, and then everyone is ironically clapping, going, "That's such an amazing thing! Wow, yes, you're great, insightful." Rocket emoji. Like, yeah, like if I see posts like that, it's an instant unfollow because first of all,
Yeah.
no child can code an LLM bot at 5 years old, and it's not about like your child is not a channel to boost your own opinion on AI here or whatever that is. If I see a post like that and I'm like, right, brilliant, you've lost a follower. Sorry for I don't need
Yeah.
people like this on my feed. The
Yeah.
people I do have aren't people that post dissertations about how fantastic they are, what they've learned. That ends with a groundbreaking new thing that you should learn, which is obviously
Mm.
ChatGPT generated. Like, a post that ends with something like, and at the end of the day, isn't that everything that matters? Yeah, like I have
Yeah.
learned so much
Mm.
from people that use LinkedIn really strategically, and if I may say so, like yourself, um,
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
because
I
yeah,
have a lot to learn
no
yet.
problem. So people that just post their work, and it doesn't have to be a long dissertation to trick the algorithm. It can be a short couple of phrases like, "Here's an app. I made last week. What do you guys think? Goes so much further than wheeling out your kids to promote your AI opinion.
Hmm.
It really does. Sharing your work is really important.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. So important. So
Uh,
important. People are not
and
doing that.
exactly. And just direct messaging people
Yeah.
because other people on LinkedIn love it. If
Hmm.
me myself, if I get an inbound of someone who's seen my work and they'd love to learn more, I get that
Yep.
instant serotonin dopamine release. And I'm like, oh, it's exactly the
Yep.
same for big
Yep.
people on LinkedIn. Um,
Yeah.
because they're also just trying to make themselves well known. There's a reason they're using LinkedIn and they love getting connections and they love,
Oh
particularly
yeah.
in UX and tech, it's a very inclusive environment and they love sharing their work. And this is the Mario Kart star, the turbo way to getting yourself more well known in the field. If you connect with other people, like I met you in real life, I just bumped into you in Sofia, but I knew of you from your LinkedIn posts.
I was
But you're
gonna say
public.
that. I was gonna say that. Actually, Ben approached me in a party. I think it was
Yeah,
the jazz during the jazz weekend. It was like after
public mention.
12. It was like a boom. We were in front of the DJ. I was drunk. I was drunk. I was really drunk at that point, and like we were having a good time with my wife. And then
Mm.
suddenly somebody taps on my shoulder, and I look around. I see Ben. I didn't know him. It's the first time I see him. He's like, "Hey, aren't you Phil? Aren't you Philip? I know you from LinkedIn." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." And he was like, "And you work at Yelp?" I used to work at Yelp, and we just suddenly clicked. And
Cool.
from then we would chat a lot on LinkedIn as well. So uh, you never know. Like LinkedIn has, and not just LinkedIn, but I mean, we're talking about LinkedIn, but it's more than that. It's just being out there and escaping kind of your cocoon, kind of, and just taking a step towards that thing. And but the thing is that people are not looking at it from the angle that they should, I think.
Mm.
Because everybody is like, when they think about LinkedIn, they think about, oh, I need to be an expert, or oh, I need to achieve groundbreaking stuff on a daily basis, just go and brag about it. I mean, nobody cares about that actually at all.
Most LinkedIn posts are
Because
particle. Most of it is just
yeah,
filter. And a lot of them
yeah.
are written by a lot of them are ghost written. So if you
E-
see LinkedIn, sorry to butt in quickly, but if you see LinkedIn
no.
celebrities posting regularly on a weekend, they don't have brainwaves on the weekend. This is scheduled like a month in advance. And what a lot of them do is they, bit of LinkedIn insider here, they pay people on Upwork a fiver, like five
Yeah.
dollars every couple of hours to just come up with content that seems plausible. And they're like, yeah, I'll go for this one. And then they use that for self-promotion. But then that
Mm,
creates this feeling on LinkedIn of a superiority complex or an inferiority complex. So someone sees this influencer constantly bashing out amazing content. Well, most of the time that is not real. A lot of this is
yeah.
paid for. It's just a farcical, it's theater. The
Yeah.
people that use
Yeah.
LinkedIn effectively, they post content which actually resonates with who they are as a person, something they generally believe in. And
Mm.
my advice for people going on LinkedIn and feeling battered down by all the posting, oh, but this person's so much better than I am. Oh, this person's done all this. Well, yeah, that person might be good at marketing, but they might not actually have the skills to do the job. There's a very, very big difference.
Yeah, yep.
LinkedIn is marketing. It's
I
nothing
wouldn't
more.
even, yeah, this is a great point that you're doing, but I would even look at it from a slightly different angle, like not even you having to go and compare yourself with others, which is unfortunately the one of the bad, one of the biggest bad kind of sides of cons of social media as a whole, because there's constantly somebody out there who just bought a Porsche or Lamborghini or just landed at your dream job or just like, I don't know,
Yeah, they
one
rent them.
a million of like whatever VC kind of in like and it's really not about that. It's really about what I love that you said is authenticity and finding your own inner voice, just being yourself, right? And because a lot of people when they go on LinkedIn, they feel like you know how you usually put your hoodie on in your like saggy jeans and your sneakers that are a bit dirty, that you don't really clean them. But that's you, you know, your hat, and that's you, and this is who you are as a person, and you feel comfortable who you are like this. But
Yeah.
LinkedIn kind of feels like you're putting the suit and stuff, and you have to be like act a certain way, talk in a certain way, be in a certain way, like you're suddenly in a room full of like super highly intellectuals, and like it's all needs to be sounding very intelligent and stuff. But that's bullshit because LinkedIn is still people. Yes, it's a work. Yes, it's a place where you share work stuff,
Yeah.
but work stuff doesn't need to be boring. It doesn't need to be all suit and ties and like
Mhm.
all that crap, because so many people out there like look at the most, okay, not the most, but a lot of the even the most, I don't know, successful people in businesses, they're not wearing suits. A lot of them are just like very casual people, and they're not even buying so many things. A lot of them are as well, but like it's not about that. It's not about that. So I think people really value authenticity. And if you speak in a certain way, the way that just speak the way that you speak online as if you would speak to a friend.
Yeah.
Okay, tell the story as if you would speak to a friend and act this way and show pictures and graphics and just be yourself as much as possible. You stand out and people really listen and be interested in what you have to say because it's going to stand out and it's so interesting. It's authentic. And people are really drawn to people like them that they like. Okay. And the people that are not going to like you, that's great because you just push them away because you don't want them anyways. But
Yeah.
the people that you want to connect with, they will like you and they will come to you and they will really appreciate the way
Yeah.
that you do stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's Yeah, 100%. And also, you don't need to have a 100% polish. It doesn't need to be perfect because if you chase
Oh, yeah.
perfection, it's not going to be perfect. And also, here's the big thing.
Hmm.
People don't really care at all what you post because people are worried about what they're posting. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I get it. Before posting, before putting yourself out there, everyone falls into this. There's this feeling of, oh, but what if I accidentally post something unprofessional and a recruiter sees and then ticks something against my name, like this person made a spelling error, they used the wrong comma. Nope, they're not going to be suggested for this. It's yeah, no one really cares because people think about their own posts, they think about their own worries.
Yep.
They don't care nearly as much, like nowhere near as much as the worries you have towards your own posts. Because for most people, they'll look at it like for like a third of a second before going to the next one.
Hmm.
You kind of have like nothing to lose in a way. I'm not saying you should go on LinkedIn and like bitch about everyone and yeah, post how how much of a victim you are because you've applied for this many jobs and no one's responded. Yeah, I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm just saying like if you're really interested in what you do and you make some even mock projects or let's say a recruiter has reached out to you and got you to do a take-home test and then they ghosted you. Yeah, just post that on LinkedIn because you
Yep.
haven't learned from that situation. You've actually done some proper product and marketing material that you can then use. First of
Oh,
all,
yeah.
because you enjoy working it, it's a dopamine-based environment. And second
Hmm.
of all, because you have the opportunity to spread knowledge. And third of all, you
Yep.
spread awareness about yourself. And then if you are looking for a job or a new opportunity, there's a reference point. There are
Yep.
testimonials.
Yep.
Because people act socially with each other. And if you see that post has got traction, that post has got likes, they're engaging. Okay, this person's real. This person generally cares about what they do. Okay, let's invite him for an interview.
Exactly.
Not saying it
Exactly.
will lead to an interview, but it's kind of there's a really good analogy for this. It's called the hose pipe analogy, which I came across a few years ago and never forgot. It's for those people who, as you said before, are applying for hundreds of jobs and are not getting anything. That's really demoralizing. And yeah, sure, you've tailored every CV, you've tailored every cover letter, you're not getting anything back. It's demoralizing. Yeah, well, it's the equivalent of adding lots of water to a hose pipe with holes in it. That's connect. That's bent like
Hmm.
someone's stepping on it. The hose pipe, you're still adding lots and lots of water into the hose pipe. Yeah, you're putting in the effort, you're working hard, but the results at the end aren't coming because of these holes in the hose pipe or these bends in the hose pipe. The trick isn't
Yeah.
to add more effort. The trick is to work more strategic.
Hmm.
And instead of just spamming or just sending out your CV and cover letter to every job without a real strategy behind it, you can unbend those connects and holes in the hose pipe by networking with people in your field because people don't
Yeah.
hire faceless, anonymous avatars they see
Yep.
from a
Yep.
CV, and they're like, yeah, this person, whatever. I'm going to hire someone internally in the company. I'm going to hire a friend.
I wanna say something to this
Make friends with
exactly.
them.
This is a great point. Sorry for cutting you. This is a great point. I just wanna really reference that because people sometimes because we are humans and because we're human and we're
Yes.
not machines. So we are very our decisions are very tied to emotions, even if we think they're not, even if we think we're being
Mm,
super rational and stuff, because we would rather hire somebody that we know and we like as a person and we
mm,
know we're gonna get on well with them
mhm.
rather than somebody who's a bigger professional than them
Yeah.
but you don't really know that much about or even like not really feeling them as a person and
Mm,
and and I'm gonna say even right now we're just going to different like uh what are they called credit specialists whatever like and we're discussing like different kind of financial plans and whatever with our future with my wife and
mm,
yesterday we went to somebody who was really sharp and really well connected and just felt like they have a lot of experience and felt like they won our trust. There was something about their character that bugged me though. I'm not even sure exactly what I need to sleep on it. I need to think more on it. Like, but that doesn't matter. But I just knew there was something. And today, this morning, we met somebody who didn't really seem that experienced, but they knew their thing. They knew their thing, and there was still trust. But man, I like the person, man. I just felt it, and I can't really explain it. And that's just it. And now we're just gonna continue with them because it just feels better. And
yeah.
there's a very important kind of analogy of this is like, you would like if you want to hire somebody to take after your kid, like would you hire the girl next door that you have seen how she grew up and you see how she went to college and you know that she used to be a great kid, now she's a great growing person and you know the parents and the whole house and you
Yeah.
love everybody and you just know them as people?
Yeah.
Or would you hire her to take care of your kid, or would you hire like the best top performer in the world, number one, all certified. Like he took care of the kids of like the Queen of England and stuff
Mm,
like, you know, and
mm.
and and you know, people would usually go with no, I would go with the next door kid because
Like,
we know it and we like her. So
mhm.
uh
It's
take
interesting. It's interesting. I was actually going through all of the clients and companies I've worked for over the last 5 years. And then I analyzed, well, how did I actually get them? How did this conversation start? None of them
okay.
started from cold applications. None of them started from applying through a
Same,
form. They all started through referrals, or they all
same.
started through I one client who I've been working with for the last couple of years as a UX UI designer. It's based in Switzerland, and I got the lead for this role from a guy I met in Greece on holiday. And we just got talking, and he said, "What
Mhm.
do you do?" As I work in UX. Oh, we're looking for a UX designer. We got on quite
Yeah,
well, and I've been working with them ever since.
yeah. You
That
see, it is interesting. It's just so
that's
special.
your
And
chance. Yeah.
yeah, and I know a lot of people that get jobs, find jobs really well because they're just so extroverted and they're just so communicative and just they go around places all the time. They're like parties, restaurants, going different groups of people,
Hmm.
different events all the time, always like chatting with different people, getting to know people, making friends. It's I would say it's very easy. It comes very natural for these people to stay connected, to be even better, well connected by the day and find opportunities very easily for them. I have a
Hmm.
few friends like that, but most people, especially designers, they're quite introverted people. They don't really like,
Yep.
it's not really natural for them to just go and make friends with people. It feels awkward. It feels cringy. I don't want to do that. And all I'm saying is, I don't think you should do that. Okay. I think you should do your own thing, but talk about it in the internet. And I know that's going to feel cringy and it's going to be stepping outside of your comfort zone. But nothing who really happens in your comfort zone to you, nothing really Everything great happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. So that's why I
Yeah,
really like content because you don't really have to move around. I'm speaking with a lot of designers that they just want to find something remote, some freelance opportunity, nothing big, and they want to live in their village or their like far away small town in Bulgaria among the trees in the forest. And I love that. And it's great. And it's really cool that these people know themselves so well that they're
yeah.
not gonna escape, that they're gonna go for the peace of mind that they're looking for. But it's so hard for them to find a job, and they say, "Oh, I don't want to move to Sofia. I don't want to have to go to Sofia," and you don't, right? You don't, but there's something else that you need to do, and it's that. It's just it opens so many doors. It's just so good, and you never
Absolutely.
know where it can take you.
And I would also say, for designers who are feeling a bit introverted, like I don't want to go to events, I don't want to meet people. It's yeah, I totally get it. But also, many people, potential new colleagues, they're also introverted.
Yeah.
So it's not the case where everyone's outgoing and goes to parties all the time, and you're the only introverted person. Like, no, you're gonna join a team full of other more introverted people, and then you'll probably get along with them
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's not that you need to go out and be as loud as possible, be boisterous. That's not a it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Um, you'll still have friends who are similar to you, also working in companies, and that's fine. That's also great. So, not saying one is better than the other. But yeah, you don't need to post constantly. You don't need to be loud or boisterous. A lot of it is a good analogy for this is like if you are a young as a junior designer and you are looking for a job and you're feeling that oh I can't actually do this. A good analogy is the fishing net analogy. Like it's the concept of casting your fishing net as wide as possible within your
Mm-hmm.
means.
Hmm.
Sometimes, honestly, it's not you, it's the market. Sometimes there
Yeah.
aren't that many fish. Um,
Yeah.
I can tell you, starting a couple of years ago, there are booms and there are quiet periods. I think at the minute we're in a quiet period, but it's getting
Yeah.
louder and louder, which is great. The analogy for
Yeah.
that is back about 4 years ago, there were lots and lots of fish. You didn't need to cast a wide net for the fish to swim into them. However, now even if you have a big net, there aren't as many fish. A
Mm.
lot of the time, if there's no fish, that's not your problem. That's not your fault, rather. But if you keep casting your net as wide as possible, largely through networking, through sharing your work, it doesn't have to be about yourself. It can just be about the work. Like this is what I've done. Here's an analysis. Takes a couple of minutes. People will notice.
Yep.
Fish will swim into it.
Definitely.
You don't
Definitely.
have to reinvent the wheel. Just do small
Yep.
bits every now and then. Like, yeah, I'll post this, no matter how
Mm.
small. It really, really goes a long way.
For sure. For sure. So I think we made a point with this one. And let's leave it at that. And why don't we start with your portfolio?
Sure, sure.
Okay, now we talked about what do you do. So let's like show me what you got like on your homepage and what is the overview of your portfolio looks like without going into any specific and why you structured it the way you did.
Sure. So you can see. Sorry, am I sharing my screen?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You still are.
Very good. Yeah. By the way, a bit of a side note. I'm actually in the process of redoing my portfolio because the portfolio is not your final thing, and then it's there for ages. It's
Mhm.
always an iteration. Most designers change their portfolios all the time. My portfolio is an improvement of what I had before because I had a Wix template with balloons and emojis, which didn't render properly on some devices. So this is an
Mhm.
improvement of that, but there are still things that I am actively improving. But this is what I have for now, so I hope it's okay. So
Yeah, it's
about my
great.
thank you. About my portfolio, what I have at the minute, it's tailored to full-time employment and freelancing, which has pros and cons. So
Mm.
I can tell you about the general structure. You're starting off with the hero page with CTAs, buttons. That's the most important thing, most important element that you can add to your hero. Um, I've added a book a free call with me for lead generation and the arrow, which leads to an external page and see my work. From analyzing my portfolio with Microsoft Clarity, which is a a free plugin you can use. You can attach your portfolio to Framer. Happy to ask questions about that in a bit. Users, if they don't know who you are, they're not going to click on book a free call with me. That was largely experimental. But for see my work, pretty much everyone clicks on see my work. And also, here's an important thing of the portfolio. I've added too much text. This may not seem like too much text, but you're probably not reading it. You probably only 20% of people will read it and they'll instantly forget it. What most people do is they see, hey, I'm Ben, this is me, and they click on see my work and they skip
Hmm.
everything before it, which is something I'm improving with my new portfolio. What's important with a portfolio is not just to go into really long-winded case studies with file dumping. It's not enough to think, okay, I've done all this work. I'm just going to add the images without context, not tell a story. Um, Boom, it's done. Nah, because your portfolio is it's kind of like a make or break. Your portfolio is part of the puzzle, but it's a really important part of the puzzle. Because if a recruiter for a job that you're looking for goes through your portfolio and doesn't get it within 5 seconds, well, they're going to go to the next one and you're forgotten forever. So this is why I have the idea of a showcase. And then I'm still adapting it, but I've added scanning through, browse a small selection of projects which show my strategy and design impact. Same goes for UX writing and content design, which I have through the segmented control here. Um, I do have more case studies here, which are more long-winded. Um, but most of the time, these are only relevant if you're deeper into the interview process, because recruiters aren't going to go through it, read it in detail. They're just going to scan it like, yep, 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 next one.
Hmm.
Which is why I haven't made them public. These are just for later on. What is more important is the showcase, which I'd like to dive into here. Again, this is something which I'm improving, but this is the general base, which I'd like to talk about. So you have the design impact showcase, and it's important to highlight if you do have work, most don't, which is fine. But if you do have work which has resulted in measurable quantitative impact over qualitative impact, is that even a word? Qualitative, I don't know where to stop. Qualitative impact.
Yeah.
It's much better to show the quantitative impact because numbers and statistics are a lot more scannable than words. What are you looking at here? You're looking at boosting sales by 47%. You're not reading what? You're not reading my role, even though it's only about 10 to 12 words. You're looking at the numbers. Um, and this is the tricky thing for designers because designers think, well, I don't have a case study of data. I can't just falsify data. I don't falsify data either, because it's not a good practice. But it would be great if I could, but like it's going to backfire if I do. But if you have, this is a case study which actually resulted in a really nice sales increase. Um, this stands out. This stands out in your portfolio. So this is why it's important to add it. If you have a case study which didn't result in data that you can use, where, okay, I could add, all right, this improved yada yada, but many people do that on their portfolio. But if it's more qualitative, just add something like, oh, this resulted in this and this. No numbers, no problem. It's better to have numbers, but that's also fine. For example, this case study was a very long-winded case study. Yeah, we created a SaaS USP and we drove some sales. And then you have the image here of the what we did there, just as a mock-up. And same one here as well. Um, yeah, here's another one. Yeah, I couldn't find any numbers for what we did. So yeah, we just increased confidence in whatever the outcome was, and that's fine. And this having a showcase is a lot more impactful than having a really long-winded case study full of words that no one is going to read. Um, yeah, I know this case that if you've created a case study with lots of words and you've put a lot of effort into it, and you're like, oh, the recruiter is going to read this because I've put a lot of effort into it. That's not the case. The recruiter doesn't care. The recruiter sees numbers and they're like, oh, okay. This is 100% more impactful than a long-winded case study about a double diamond design process with fake user personas. Like, this is Kerry. Kerry is 28 and has a pet and lives in Brooklyn. She needs an app to meditate on the go. Like, yeah, that's been done. That's been done. And recruiters are going to look at that and they're going to go, yeah, that's been done. What about something else? What about something unique? I'm not saying my work is the most unique in the world, but it's important. The most important thing here is the positioning. If you have quantitative data, excellent, just use that. That goes so far. If you have qualitative data, that's also great. The work section, notice how in my portfolio, we're not really talking about the skills section or the experience section. We're just going to the work section.
Hmm.
Because having talked with other potential clients and recruiters, they don't care about this so much or the experience. They're like, yeah, nice. They care about this. They care about the work. And that's if you are creating a portfolio, um, if you are adding new content, the work aspect is the most important element for you to make a splash with your target audience. Yeah, so a little bit more about my portfolio itself. This is the work section. I've given a bit of an overview into my showcase and some long-winded case studies, which don't need to be shown publicly. Because if you get to an interview and you get further down the line, this is where you can show your work in detail because users aren't going to look at this. They're going to go, okay, sure, whatever. Um, and then also, it's important for a portfolio to have an about me section. Quotes are quite good as well. Um, for example, here, just like what you do, a picture of yourself goes well. Because as mentioned before, we're social animals. Notice how YouTube thumbnails most of the time have a picture of someone reacting to something clickbaity like this, like this. It's kind of the same for your portfolio because people going on your website are going to see pictures of you, and all of a sudden that's hit a nerve. It's
Mm.
resonated with them. That's why I would say the work section and the about section um, are the most important aspects. And also something, here's more about who I am. Some pictures of me for the relatability. By the way, for this one, I quite like because we saw a guy who kind of looked like me a little bit. So that's kind of the purpose of this photo. In Uzbekistan, that's Uzbek. And there's some FAQs. FAQs are
Mm.
really effective, and this is how a lot of recruiters will interact with your profile if they have questions. In design, they're like, yeah, well, there are some questions. That's the purpose of the FAQs, which is criminally overlooked in most portfolios. So that's why I decided to add that here. And then a footer. Footers are important for the lead generation. Oh, have any questions? You can book a free call, send me an email. Here's my number, here's my email, here's my LinkedIn, and then a small copyright thing at the end. Yeah, that's to give you some insight into my portfolio. It's still work in progress,
Mm.
but also an important thing as well. If you're still listening and
Yeah.
are a designer, don't have a URL with something like myportfolio.com or yeah, like a generic or a generated framer URL. If your name is still available on a hosting site like GoDaddy or Wix, mine was, but absolutely buy that domain and then link it to your portfolio website. It will look so much more professional than a generic bitlylink.com. Um, and then connect because that actually goes further than a lot of what I've talked about on my portfolio and way further than any case study. Yeah, that's the overview. Hope I didn't ramble too long. Happy to answer any
Mm.
questions questions you may have about it.
No, that was perfect. Thank you so much. You have an incredible portfolio. I think it's really
Oh,
good.
thanks.
It's definitely way above average. The average thing that I see when people send me their portfolios is really just honestly, I would if it would be me, I would probably just scroll. Not entirely sure I would even click on anything and invite you
Mm,
for an interview because it's just you have a lot of things that communicate your expertise and or did you have experience and did you know your shit basically even just from the wrapper of it without even going into the to unpack it and really see uh and yeah, so many questions. Thank you so much. This was a great This is a great kind of showcase of your showcase in portfolio, and you did it in a very, very, very cool way. You did not ramble at all, actually. It was really great. So,
Thanks.
I have a lot of questions, and I would say let's go one by one. We don't need to necessarily spend a decade on any one of them. But just like very curious about a lot of. So first question, like very directly. So you have so your showcase and your case studies are on separate pages, right? And outside of your projects, this thing, is it a one pager? Like the about FAQ, if I click on the links on the in the
Mhm.
top
Yeah.
navigation, you're just gonna scroll to the
Yeah.
location. So it could give a bit of the so I think this is a great thing that a lot of people should do. I mean, I love one pagers. I think one pagers is the thing. And I think they're pretty cool right now. A lot of people are doing one pagers. And I don't like you don't need a website with separate pages. Like
No.
it's just like why the hell would you do that when you can fit it all in a single page and you can decide to scroll and view it or just click and be sent there. And it kind of gives the impression that it's a huge website or sort of a big website with all these pages and stuff, but it's really not that big. But it leaves an impression and it leaves an impression of professionalism in a way because it's just well thought out and structured, which even your project, your portfolio is a UX project by itself, because it's targeted to specific people. You need to know how to grab their attention. You need to help them find what they're looking for as soon as possible. And you talked a lot about that as well, which is awesome. And just to confirm, you did that with Framer.
This was made with Framer, yeah. It's for those who don't know, it's a no-code platform. It's like Figma but straight to web. Figma
Yep.
has introduced this now because Figma's trying to be the everything tool with
Yep.
Figma sites. I
Yeah.
would just you have this confusion of what should I use? Should I use Wix, Squarespace? Nah, Framer, 100%. If you're a
Framer
designer,
is the shit. Yep.
so
Sorry, I was just saying Framer is shit. Really
Framer is
good
that
at.
shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because when I started out, I was thinking. So my previous website was built with Wix. My advice is avoid the website builders with templates because there will come a point where you'll want to expand your portfolio and make it nice and make it more tailored to you. Not saying they're bad, but they're not as good as Framer because these template sites are geared towards people that just want to create a website for their business in a couple of seconds by using a pre-made template. But if you use that, you're not representing yourself. You just have a template which doesn't fit you. This is really important working in product design because another visual check, if recruiters don't know you, if the company doesn't know you, they'll look at your portfolio and if they see a template or something generic, they won't even get to the case studies. They're like, nah, boring. And then next one. So the visual check, so understand my portfolio website, that's why I'm redoing it, is it doesn't really represent me as much as I would like it to, because it's quite plain, it's quite sass, it uses quite a grey color. But it's still honestly, it's still more me than what a Wix or Squarespace template would ever be.
Yeah.
Trying to say that. So my advice is you don't need to know coding at all. Just go with Framer. You don't even have to buy the subscription or connect to your domain is something I would recommend for sure. But if you don't, you can just you can just create a Framer domain for free for the free version. It's so effective, and if you've used Figma before, there's a very low learning curve to transition into Framer. Just open up Framer, play with it. Don't make it perfect, just play around, and you'll learn it within a couple of days, within a week. It's very, very. It's a lot easier compared to other tools like Webflow or coding it yourself, which is really, really something quite advanced. But yeah, Framer's the shit.
Yep. And there's a very cool plugin in Figma. You can just transport all of your design with all of their properties, all that layout, everything you should set up and just export that to Framer. And that's pretty cool. I've always used that. In the humble two websites that I've done with Framer. But Framer is really cool, and the transition from Figma to Framer is just so smooth.
Yep.
They've made it for designers intentionally. It's a great platform. So I would also encourage designers who want to build a website with a portfolio or client work, you can just go for that.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. And I wanted to touch on something else that you mentioned before, the yourname.com kind of
Yep.
thing, where it's so professional if you have it like as your own kind of domain to send that out, have your own website on your own name and domain, and kind of it's built custom by you. So I want to challenge that. A lot of people has asked me, "Hey, do I need to build a website? Should I go on Behance? I don't know what to do. Like, what should I do?" And my initial reaction would be that it doesn't really matter that much. At the same time, there is a bit of a, you have like a sort of a better feeling towards something that is yourname.com rather
Yep.
than, behance.com/yourname.
Yeah.
So, but what is the psychology behind that? Or, I mean, I kind of think we know the psychology behind that. What is your proof? Have you validated that? Have you talked with any people about that? Or like, why do you believe so much in that yourname.com thing?
It's how some what's it called, the .com, these suffixes. You know how .io is way more expensive than .com.
Yeah,
And then you have like .org in the UK. A lot of websites are .org.uk.
yeah.
Those are way cheaper because of the impact it has. .com is the middle ground. But the
Hmm.
point I'm trying to make is that the fact that .io is a lot more expensive than .com is about the value it has for you as a brand. Imagine if
Hmm.
Airbnb was airbnb.org.uk. The user would think like, oh, this is some government non-profit charity website. No, no.
Yeah, yes.
Why is Framer dot? Some websites, Notion is dot .so, I think. Um,
Hmm.
you can, it's a massive personalization asset you can use. If you have something generic, if even worse, if you have a website that says .wix
Hmm.
template.com, whoever's looking at your site is like, well, they couldn't be bothered to upgrade it. All professional sites have their own domain. Uh, they have their own brand. It's a branding tool. Then
Hmm.
they're not going to have a generated template. It can be used for some things. If you have .framer.site, that's okay, but it's not as good as having your name.com. It's the same with your email address as well. If your email address was something like Levski forever 1899 dot com, users are going to look at that and think like, yeah, well, you made that when you were 8. If you have
Yeah.
your name.com, or your personalized domain, it just comes across as so much more professional. Um, yeah, you might have to invest a very small amount, but the impression it has on those looking at your website, looking at your portfolio, it really goes such a long way. It's about removing this unprofessional element, which is the first thing that recruiters will scan when looking at your site.
Hmm.
They'll see like, oh, this is just a generic URL.com, or this is just made up. Well, they actually invested in their name.com. This is
Yeah.
their personal brand. It's the feeling it gives off to.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that I give off a brand feeling, but it's a lot better than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Levski 1899.com.
Yeah, or like uh definitely, yeah. It should be well picked. It should be your name. Definitely should be your name, and or some f version of you very close to your name somehow, or the
Yeah.
way that they call you, or even like a very special way that people will call you at work.
Mm.
But like um yeah, having your own platform, because like you can do so many things with a website. I mean, most people just want a portfolio to send out, and a lot of times I've actually there was a moment where, and I'm still am to this day, to be honest. A lot of times I would actually advise against building a website because a lot of people are not that experienced yet. Because one thing is to do it in Figma, another thing is to actually build it out. And a lot of people just end up going against themselves. and spending a lot of time building out something that maybe doesn't scale well on mobile, gives off a bad impression, or you open it up and it's a bit clunky in a way. And it kind of goes against what you just said. I tried to build a brand and I went that extra mile, but it actually didn't really quite turn out well. So now it kind of goes against me.
Yeah.
Well, when you could have just and sometimes like you are from the impression that I got about you, you are, and we can switch to the next kind of topic here is like you are giving the impression, you're not giving the impression, you are living the impression that you're not just a hireable candidate by an organization to start full time, you're also a freelancer. So you kind of have the impression, you give the impression of a business unit, a
Yes.
single person business. Also, yes, I can hire you, but you know, knowing more about you, you kind of have this kind of a freelance character to you as well, like a part-time contract thing where
Hmm.
you would kind of work on different projects across multiple organizations. So for me, that even more sense to have a website because now it's more than just okay, here's my portfolio and then let's be done with it. It's more than that. And even this book a free call with me thing is very like you wouldn't see this in most portfolios, to be honest. You
Hmm.
would see a main call to action, which could be see my work or I don't know, download my CV or send me a message or I don't know, whatever. But your book a free call with me, that definitely sounds, and you mentioned that sounds like I want to hire you for a job. I want to hire you for a project, kind of. It's a kind of a
Hmm.
freelance thing. And what would that do? Is that gonna send me to Calendly?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have the external link. This is also where UX practices come into play. If you had the book a
Hmm.
free call, well, let's say you do want to click on it and you have book a free
Hmm.
call with me and it didn't have this little arrow, user's like, well, what's that? Is that going to lead me to somewhere in the website or is that going to lead me to Calendly? Yeah, boom, straight to Calendly, like this.
Nice. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's great.
also, also, Calendly is free. So
Yep, it is.
it's a
It is.
free
I was
marketing
surprised
channel
too.
for yourself. Yeah, it's a free
Yeah.
channel. So
It's
you
really
don't have to
cool.
pay. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying it's really cool. And I just found out it's free as well. And it's so useful, right?
It's free as well. And also one thing I'm seeing these days is many freelancers, they're ditching the book a free call with me and they're replacing it with a WhatsApp message, the WhatsApp link, which is way quicker. Often now this is a relatively new thing on the bottom right of the screen and the floating button at the top. Many designers do keep the book a free call. You'll have a WhatsApp icon, which just leads to opening the WhatsApp desktop. I would say that's a lot more effective in creating contact, creating a connection between someone. Because there's less friction there. If you book a free call, like, oh, I have to select a time. Is he available? Oh, I don't have so much time. It's more formalized. It's more like royal in nature. It's like having a meeting with the queen or the king now. But if you have WhatsApp, it's just like, yo, are you do you also do this? And I can respond saying, yeah, less so, but I know someone who does this. And boom, you've
Hmm.
already got a connection there.
Hmm.
This is also something I'm adding to my new revamped site 2.0. But the book a free call with me as well. The main CTA, that's an art in itself. Um, because if you're opening up this site, most people don't know me. So if you see book a free call, yeah, I could do, but like I don't know him. I'm just actually going to look at his work instead. So that's what happens in 99.99% of cases. The book a free call, most freelancers, no matter how famous you are, will have quite a low conversion rate if we're talking about metrics regarding the primary CTA button choice. Most just want to see work. Most are in the awareness stage. They're not in the conversion stage already, but it's free. So it absolutely makes sense to include low funnel. Sorry, this is very marketing here, but it makes sense to include low funnel indicators and low funnel themes into your website. Same here with the Let's Connect. You can book a free call or send me an email. It's free. Yeah, you might not get that many conversions at start, but it's free. It's worth a go. You don't lose anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the perspective you bring to this. It's It really sounds like you're thinking about it in a very strategic and kind of business oriented way where you're looking at you not just as somebody who want to get hired by a company, but as a business, and the business is you. It's Ben. It's yourself.
Yes.
And it's quite powerful. It makes you stand out. It makes you more serious than most candidates that I look at. A lot of people are just like fairy tales. Hey, I'm here to change the world, and my UX is really gonna make beautiful stuff, blah
I'm
blah
someone
blah.
who cares
Or
about
like
the
fairy
quality
tales
of
and like
products.
stuff. Yeah. I change people's life and stuff. So you really sound very realistic and authentic and professional and serious.
Mhm.
And that really adds a lot. And now I want to challenge a few things.
Sure.
So first thing, I mean actually it's two things together. I'm gonna do them together because they make sense to be together. It's positioning
Yes.
and target.
Mhm.
So the way that you position yourself, so I see duality in the two things. I see
Yes.
you position yourself both as a product designer in UX specialist and at the same time as a UX writer at the same time, and I know the two things kind of come together, but if I and then at the same time, yeah, and then your target, or actually your target is a different thing here. So let's talk about the positioning. So
Mhm.
if I am looking for a UX writer, because there's not a lot of UX writers out there, by the way, or at least I don't know that many. I know a few, but
Yeah.
just a very few. I can count them on one of my hands. So,
There's not
uh,
many Python jobs either. That's the paradox.
yeah. So if I'm looking for a UX writer, I'll definitely think of you.
Oh, of course.
But if I'm looking for a product designer, I'm not sure I'll stop on you. I might invite you for an interview, but I'll think about it. I'm not sure where this guy stands. Is there's like, and here
Yeah.
exactly, it's like, what do I do? All you do, UX design, content design, UX writing, conversational AI. And
Yeah.
honestly, UX writing and conversational AI and conversational design and content design, these they sound like in the same category, and they sound like you can even niche down from UX writing to something more specific like conversational AI. That sounds so cool and so specific. But then
Mhm.
the UX UI design, it makes me think like, I feel like he doesn't really, it sounds like so confident in themselves to in himself to about the UX writing thing. So there's the UX as well. So where do you sit here? And do you think that that is confusing? Do you think that might confuse anyone? Like what is your take on this kind
Yeah,
of?
that's a really strong point, by the way. Every site, no matter how senior you are, is always in the process of iteration and testing and feedback. The more constructive criticism you get, the more feedback you get, the better. I've actually, you can, sorry, very quickly going off on a tangent. You know how ChatGPT agrees with you all the time?
Yeah.
There's actually, there's that, and
Unless you tell it not to, and to be brutally
yeah,
honest.
you can go to the settings bit of ChatGPT and add a prompt. I'm happy to send you it after, which makes
Okay.
turns ChatGPT into this really strict uh, Bulgarian style powerlifting coach, which is what you need to get bigger and stronger, rather than just someone who nurses you and agrees with you all the time. So
Okay.
I welcome more of this than I do just constant positive feedback because the constant positive feedback it only goes so far. It just you don't tap into the potential your site has that can only be achieved through constructive criticism. This is actually a reason I'm redoing my site at the minute because this portfolio is more tailored to more of a broad approach. But if you tailor yourself to something more broad, you don't come across as a specialist. You come across as a jack of all trades. And the fact that UX UI design here is one of the most key elements I work in, but it's only one quarter of the other things I offer. By the way, I split content design and UX writing because many people don't know that they're actually the same thing. So that's why I split them there. And it's conversational AI, which is something I offer as well. Yeah, I do agree. From this stance, it just looks like, oh, I do this. You can hire me if you want. But then you go to another website, built-in frame, a built-in webflow, which looks amazing with bubbles in the background saying, I am a product designer who, full screen page with I am a product designer who builds this and this. Here's my work. They might be great content designers as well, but if you omit the content design page side, you come across as someone who's more competent in product design because that's what the user sees.
Mm.
If I were to add everything, you're kind of filtering out what you're good at. You might be amazing at everything, but it's important not to focus on everything. I do this, this, and this. Kind of gives off the impression that users think that, yeah, like what does this guy actually do? So I totally agree with that as well. It sounds like with my site, it does look a little bit like listing at the minute, and the same mirrors with the work section. So you have UX, UI design, split into UX writing, content design. I've realized that I'm actually giving off the wrong impression here. My approach isn't splitting content design and product design, it's merging them. And how do you merge them together? That's quite
Mm.
niche, and that's uh that's that's something which is quite difficult to communicate. And how do you do that? Which is something I'm working on currently. But then it also looks like it gives off the impression that there's a lot more product designers out there, but there's a lot more product design jobs. But if you're a recruiter, I mentioned the word recruiter thousands of times a minute, but hey ho, if you're a recruiter and you go to see my work, you see UX, UI design and UX writing content design. Nah, bro, they're the same. They're in the same channel, which is how do you communicate that? No, I agree with your point there as well. It's one angle of looking at highlighting my strengths or communicating my background working in design. But if you split them, if you say, yeah, I do this and do this, well, what do you actually do? The trick is to merge.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's a great challenge. It's so hard, right? Because
So hard.
um, it's the same with me. So you know what my thing is? I want to be a teacher, and I am a teacher. I teach people. I am a mentor, a tutor, all of that in UX design. So this is half of me, and the other half of me is the actual product design that does the work.
Mm,
Where I focus on where kind of like I'm really about the kind of simplifying complicated workflows and screens. So this is like really like my thing, like getting something very complicated and very subject mattery, like UI for airplanes or like whatever, something very specific and subject mattery, understanding that, breaking down into like something and making it very, very simple for even people who doesn't have a lot of context to understand. So this is kind of where these are my two things: the product designer that simplifies complicated stuff, and the teacher that teaches people product design and how to find a job there.
yeah.
So what do I do with this duality, Well, how do I handle? Do I put it in the same website? Because that'd be a mess. I'm gonna tell you, even without thinking at all about it, I feel like that's gonna be a mess.
Mm,
Like, should that be two separate websites and stuff? And it's just, it's it's an interesting thing. And if it's different websites, then oh my God, now I have two separate links. How
yeah.
do I position them across my social media channels and content and stuff? Like,
You
wow.
can, the trick is this is a skill, it's a storytelling. How do you communicate that you can do both and that they come together? And if you nail that, then it's going back to the hose pipe analogy. You've undone a huge dent in your hose pipe, and then the water will start flowing a lot more freely. But getting to that stage is quite difficult. It's also something when I talk with other designers and they ask me, how do I position myself as someone who stands out from the crowd? It's like you add something to product design. Instead of just niching down, I'm a product designer for SaaS, I'm a product designer for this. That's one angle. Yeah, sure, that's good. But if you're a product
Yep.
designer and I do this and you combine them together, you don't have to niche down. You can niche down by broadening your skill set because you're offering more
Hmm.
things. So for me, for example, the combination of product design and content design, like why split your team with a content designer and a UX UI designer when you can have it all together? Someone who understands content and also works in UX UI design and realizes that they come together. I've not seen this that much. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that more designers don't go down this route. Many designers just say, "Oh, I'm a web designer." Well,
Hmm.
why don't you just combine it with something? It's positioning. Positioning in your network, it's very important for you to stand out. Not saying it will work, but it's better than just saying, "Oh, I'm a UX UI designer."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a high
Def
chance you're going to get lost in the crowd unless you
I
don't.
I, I want to mention something here. It's like I think in the context of what you said, in between the lines, there was something very important to pull out, and it's like you can niche by industry and say, oh, I'm a fintech designer, or I'm a SaaS designer, or whatever.
Yep,
Or I'm an AI designer, and that's great. Okay, it's really
yep,
cool to be able to do that. But also, I feel like there's another type of niche which is more skill based that you mentioned. Oh, I'm a product designer, but I'm a great at using copy, you know? So, oh, okay, now you're special. Oh, I'm a product designer, I'm great at business.
mhm,
I'm a product designer, I'm great at engineering. I'm a product designer, I'm great at teaching and communicating and creating processes and crafting, design as a practice, and nailing a design as a practice in your organization, whatever. So I think there are these two kind of niches that I think work really well. And to be honest, like I think the skill-based one should come from your experience, just like you, just like me as well.
mhm,
And it's like
yep,
what were you good at and interested at before UX? And how can you combine that with UX? It doesn't always work, but I feel like there could always be a way to do that. And uh, and then the other one is it comes with experience as you go. Like, are you more are you going to an e-commerce UX? Are you going to, more of a kind of enterprise UX? Are you going to SaaS
yeah.
UX? It all has its kind of
One thing I would
different, yeah.
one thing I would recommend also is the danger of niching too hard. If you say that, oh, I only design for SaaS scale ups with this amount of ARR based in the EMEA region, you actually are stopping. If the more you niche, you're actually reducing the size of your fishing net for other potential opportunities, which are very similar to what you do. So a good approach for a portfolio is to have something kind of like an overview, something broad, but with opportunities to niche and material to niche in the portfolio. So if you have the overview saying I'm Ben and I do this and this, and then you can have something like, if, for example, if you're a product designer and you work in SaaS, among many other things, why not just have a portfolio site saying this is what I do and get creative? What about a floating button that says, hey, for SaaS teams, are you in SaaS? Click here. And that leads to a landing page specifically for SaaS. Because you're niching for SaaS, but you're also not blocking e-commerce or health tech or fintech. You don't have to niche down into something and you say you do this and nothing else. It's all about strategic positioning. You do this, but I focus on this. It's just as
Hmm.
powerful as niching. I don't agree with people saying you need to be really, really good at one thing. You can be good at lots of things, but it's all about communicating that to people. Because your website, it's marketing material. Um, it's it's not necessarily what you will do on the job. It's about creating that first impression. It's like a university prospectus, and you see this group of students having a great time in front of the student union, drinking coffee, and it's all diverse, and everyone's having it. Universities are not like that, but that's the marketing material that they get you to bite, and then boom, because universities in the UK are more of a business. So was my experience. But then, as I said, if you look at university prospectus, do you see that kind of scenario in real life ever? No, it's just an in marketing material to get you to convert. And the same goes for your websites as well.
That was pretty cool. This is great advice. I love that. It's very strategic. It helps you focus when you
Mhm.
need to focus, but you can pull out from the focus as well. So you're not necessarily blocking yourself from any opportunities that might come your way, you know? So because niching is really like an interesting thing. And you can get it right and you can get it wrong. And it's not cool if you don't have it at all. It's not cool if you have it too much.
Mm.
And but the balance is really important. And
That's
for
good.
people just starting out is also very tricky because how the hell do I know what I I haven't done anything. Like, I mean, I've done a few concept projects, and I mean, I don't know, So to me, it's like the niche is both a journey that you are looking for something, but also something that's finding you in a way. Okay, so it's like the mixture of these two things, something that is finding you and something that you are looking for to find. It's not you don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna just do fintech in my life because I love Revolut. I use that every day." Right? It doesn't. It's not. You never know what might be very interesting to you to do when you don't want to block that for you.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Um, and I wanted to talk about something that I think you did quite well and haven't really seen that done so well. And I'm such a huge believer in this, and it's kind of a new thing that I've started thinking about the past couple of months, and that's the showcase versus case study. Okay,
Yep.
it's a great topic. I love it. We've discussed that with you in chat, but so and I want to mix that with the recruiters. So it
Mm.
really sounded like you have a very good eye on an understanding of the user, of the main user of your portfolio, which is the recruiter. And how do you manage their attention quite well? You understood what they did, what they read when they landed, which button they clicked on, how they come here, and that they most how they scan. They're not reading long case studies. That's why I think case studies um is I don't think they're useful anymore. Or I mean, like I think they're a waste of time.
They,
I
they,
think
they, okay.
it's really cool to be able to write a case study to understand the project and what you did and to understand in very good detail. That's amazing. And I definitely think that you should have somewhere like a slide deck of a case of a project that goes into more detail of the decision making that you did throughout the project and the things that you did and some kind of close snapshots of the UI decisions that you did as well and all of that. But in terms of your portfolio, in terms of the main the main purpose of your portfolio, I think long case studies is absolutely redundant because, as you said, nobody reads that, and you spend so much time thinking about it, writing it out,
Yeah.
and especially nowadays with this AI, it's all like a bunch of crap words and long dashes and stuff, and it's like what's there's no personality in it. You write it out just to sound smart, like, oh, look at the user journey I did, and look at the personas, and look at the competitive benchmark slash
Yeah.
comparison landscape, desk stuff. Like it's all bullshit, It's all just like, oh, look at how much I think I know and how much I want to impress you, but I don't really know how. So I'm just putting it all out there, but people don't really care about that. What I think people care is just having a look because people are really skimming through stuff. So help them
Yep.
skim better. They don't need huge blocks of text because nobody's gonna read that. So why waste time doing that in the first place?
Yeah.
And why? Because the text blocks is just walls, just blockages that
Yeah.
prevents people from actually seeing what you did. So
Yep.
tell me what the project is about. Tell me what's the impact that you did. And we're gonna talk about the impact in a bit more detail in a minute, but like
Yeah.
show me the final result. Give me just bit of a context of, the team structure and, what kind of exactly you did, like, and, and, um, and I think that's enough for me, right? Like, why, I just want to have a glimpse of it, I just want to understand, oh, okay, he did that kind of stuff. I like that. That seems plausible. That seems cool. I cannot say for sure if you're the person for the job. I can never say if you're the person for the job if I don't meet you and if
Yep.
I don't see how you think live as we are conversing. If I'm asking you questions and how you handling that, I'm never gonna hire you. So portfolio is never gonna be able to do that for you. So don't try to do that. Just help them get a glimpse of
Yep.
your experience and of your work, and I think that's crucial. And this is where a showcase comes in. And I
Hmm.
love how you did that thing. I think it was just pretty smart move.
Yeah, it's also bear in mind for most people, the portfolio is generally quite high level. as I mentioned before, with having the low level components like the book a free call with me is pretty low level. That's like interest stage. Um, a lot of it is for awareness. So here's a project I did with Canyon. If you're aware of Canyon, they make based in the Netherlands, they make bikes. It's like the Adidas of bikes. Um, just a mock-up of what the app looks like for the visuals and just what I did, my role, my impact, and this is the result, by the way. This is all going to be redone. So this is just more of a reference point for now, and also user reviews as well, which you
Ooh, that's so nice. The
yeah,
user
yeah,
reviews is such a cool thing to put.
because it
And
makes it real, yeah. Because
by
like
the
this is
way,
the impact of your work.
yeah, by the way, just wanna say something here. And
Sure.
let's talk about let's talk, I'm so for that. I'm so for that because you don't need to spend so much time and you achieve the same result if you would have created a long case study that took you a few weeks and then suddenly nobody's reading it. They're just scrolling through to understand those exact points that you put here.
Yeah.
Um, and um, and there's nothing more important than the design kind of thing that you put here, and you even went into a bit more detail here. But honestly, even if I was just on the hero section, might not even need to scroll down, and that will help me understand. And let me just break this down for people who are new, who don't have access to real actual projects, and they're not really able to get these user reviews that you put in here. They're not really cannot really put these numbers that you put here.
Mm.
um Actually, you can. There is a way, and I think people need to be smarter about these things and the way that they handle these projects. If I was to start right now without any portfolio, without anything, without any, you know, social media presence, anything, but maybe with the skills that I knew, or at least some of the knowledge that I had,
Hmm.
I would just go and I would do, by the way, I have a prompt for this. And anybody who is watching this at this point of this video and is interested can text me. I can send you. I have an amazing prompt that works out every time for ChatGPT. You just put it out and it gives you an amazing brief for a realistic company, for an actual problem with the UX that they have, which is proven from like people on Reddit or reviews or just online anywhere that you can research more. You can go and try out, and the problem that they have is in part of the app that is free as well. So I've really thought about it well. It makes it as realistic as you can get for a single person, a conceptual thing to do, but it's conceptual but realistic at the same time.
Hmm.
And and you can literally do that and really put your thought and mind to it and work hard for 2 weeks and really create a solution that doesn't involve multiple screens and like a full design app overhaul or whatever, like a full redesign or a full app. Like I see so many projects and it's like a full application. Oh my God, who does a full application, man? Like I'm working for months on a few features, like it's
Yes.
doesn't work like that. And it's and I don't think that projects or case studies should be about full. I think they should be about features. I don't and looking at something from a microscope, something small. And but that's a different point, right? So, and what I would do is I would, build this conceptually, solve the problem, but also test it with users and send it to a bunch of people to test it out and to hear their response. And I would also share it on LinkedIn and ask for people to respond it. And I'm gonna get feedback and I might improve it, I might share it again. And
Mhm.
eventually I'm gonna come up with some positive feedback on it that I can screenshot and put here as you put these reviews, for example. And from the user testing, I can get some metrics out, right? So this percentage of people were happy with the flow, or this percentage of people actually, um, you know, ch- the task completion rate or stuff. Like you can always measure stuff, and showing the ability that you care about the numbers and
Yes.
you are able to measure the impact of your design. That doesn't mean that you need to build a real product and sell stuff to see how much you've sold. No, you're measuring the usability of it, and anybody can do that on their own. And I think that's
Yeah.
so valuable. And I'm just trying to say that I think a lot of people have this thinking that they're not able to do it because how am I supposed to do it because I'm not part of a real company, right? But
Mm.
I think that's I think that's a myth, and I think we just destroyed this myth. I think we just busted the myth.
The
I
metrics don't
don't.
have to be entirely business related as well. It's not that you have to go to the chief finance officer and say, whoa, how many millions and billions of dollars did we create from this one feature release? A lot of the time, it's quite hard to measure. It can be something as simple as asking people doing guerrilla testing with 10 users and saying seven people liked the new feature update compared to the previous version. That's 70% of users uh, vibed with something like this. It doesn't have to be money related. It can also be a statistic with a percentage.
Yep,
That's
definitely.
what
And
most designers do. Most designers don't wait until there's financial leading to $5 million revenue increase. Like, no, you never see case studies of that. You see case studies with leading to 24% value increase. Something.
yeah,
It's always something like this.
and oh my God, junior designers never have that. And I'm part of that. I used to be part of that. When I was junior designer, I didn't have that as well. I just had you know what when how I know it's a junior designer is I open the case study and it goes like this. Problem, competitive landscape,
Yeah,
personas, flows, information architecture, wireframes. Oh my God, who the
yeah,
hell does wireframes anymore? Like,
and then get
nobody does
shot.
wireframes. We have vibe coding, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's like final UI and stuff, and that's cool. I get that. I get why they do that because that's the templates of the skills of the courses that they're taking that they're given. And
Mm.
but it's a trap because it closes your thinking because no real project really does that because real projects
Oh,
are messy, they're chaotic, there's like you're always dropped in the middle of something. You don't always go like, oh, I'm just starting. Wait, let me do my information architecture first. Let me go. No, bro, you have like 1 week to figure something out and you need to
yeah,
figure out how to figure it out, and
yeah,
sometimes yes, you push back, you can be strategic and push back for more research, or you can really find a way, what is the best way to figure out the best thing. And
yeah,
I this that's the thing. I'm also kind of really trying to figure out how to teach people in a very, very realistic way that actually resembles what real UX work looks like when you land a job, because most courses you're just taking and then they're very valuable. They teach you cool stuff, but they don't teach you how to use them, and they don't have you be prepared of
mm.
what to expect when you land there, you know?
A lot of these
I don't know if
courses.
you
Yeah, no, I also did a boot camp
mm,
5 years ago. A lot of them, what they do is they churn out. It's kind of it's like a UX UI designer factory. They churn
yeah,
out the same designer again and again and again and again
yeah.
with no real. It's not. How do I say it? They churn out, they want you to be, if you followed exactly what the boot camp told you, they want you to be this designer who cares about everyday things and wants to change the world of design. Here are my proto personas that don't exist, and the double diamond. If you're a recruiter and you go through this, and it's 52 page about a user persona in Brooklyn, New York that doesn't exist. You're like, well, brilliant. Like, how's that? What's my business what's my business value here? That no one cares about that as well. Like if you that's the honest truth. If you come out of a boot camp, it's highly likely that your portfolio is going to be something the boot camp told you to do. It's natural, and it's going to have this building a mock app, like for example, a tattooist app in your local area, like that doesn't exist already. Like, I want to find a local tattooist in my local area to get a tattoo, and this is how I design it. And I've tested it with my family, things like this. But that's fine. That's great. Honestly, that's great to learn about design, but it's not a realistic project. And if you put that in your portfolio as your main case study, it is great. But like, it's been seen before. It's been done. One thing that stands out in a case study, as I mentioned, are the real life statistics, like the business impact of your designs, and also presenting. this is something which has stumped me lots of times before as well and still does. Going into an interview and having a case study which is readable and scannable and doesn't have too much text. I also fall into the trap of adding lots of text, assuming the user's going to read it, but they don't. The skill is how do you show your designs in a case study in a user-friendly way? It's not just having walls of text, copy, 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 because no one's going to read that. That also is usability. That's also UX design at the end of the day. If you don't have a scannable page, you're going to have a huge drop-off rate and no one's going to read it. If you actually want users to convert of your long-winded case study, first of all, it's very unlikely that this is going to be in the awareness stage of the marketing funnel because that's what a showcase is there for. These long-winded case studies tend to be used further down the line. If you're 8 interviews deep into a 16 interview process at a big company somewhere, that's when you start showing your case studies. And even then, the copy's not going to be read. It's about the overall feeling this case study gives the recruiter or the hiring manager. Um, I was also referencing some other amazing portfolios out there of how they go about their case studies, and none of them have the from discovery to implementation and just like we did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, there you go. It all starts with what the actual problems were. An actual problem is the developer was off sick this week and the delivery was 3 days ago. How do we iterate in this time? And this was my solution. Oh, however, my this is a question I've been asked before as well. Um, what was some negative or constructive feedback you got from a manager? So what was some work you did which was bad or not as good, and how did you improve upon it? But then it's good to show work that you did which wasn't included, work that you did which didn't align with best practices, because users learn about UX, people learn about UX from examples that don't work, from real life contextual examples. Sorry, not to ramble really quickly, but what's a great example of terrible UX? Um, as much as I love the BDG, for example, when you go on BDG.bg, even though don't get me wrong, I love Bulgaria. I love traveling by train here, but booking a ticket on BDG, it will instantly translate all of the destinations to English phonetically. So let's say you're trying to go to Russia, you have to go through destinations like Polish trumpet to get there first. And you're like, so what does that mean? And then, and that's a really good example of how not to do UX. Another example are, sorry, nothing against banks here, but the UX of particularly Desica Bank. It's my people ask me what's my design process. What's your strategy? Is it looking at other good designers? No, a lot of it's looking at design which has infuriated me in the past, particularly Desica Bank. It doesn't work after 10 p.m. between 6 in the morning, and they don't tell you that. And let's say you have to make a payment at 1 in the morning, you just get error 505 bad gateway. You think your account's been hacked. That is a real life problem, and it leads to a terrible user experience. So my design process is to avoid practices like this rather than focusing on really good design practices. It's avoiding bad design practices, and I think that's the quickest way to learn.
Wow, that was so insightful.
Oh, thanks.
I've never heard that perspective before, and I really like it. I think this really speaks to somebody who is is a real professional and really spent a lot of time thinking and working on that, and you can tell,
Hmm.
um,
Oh, thanks.
especially from things like this. So yeah, thank you so much for kind of going into this and shedding light on this. I'm I just want to ask you one very, very simple thing. How do you come up with these gifts?
GIFs?
Uh, the GIF, yeah, the GIF of the covers of so you can see how the UI is working and how it's functional and stuff like when you
Oh,
scroll down to your showcase.
the client,
Uh,
the clients.
no, 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 not these guys. If you scroll down to your work,
This.
no, 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 more to your work.
Yeah.
Okay, you see the GIF of how the I can see how I don't know if it's a GIF or whatever it's but I see that it's like it's animated. It's not animated, it's real, it's live. You're
Hmm.
scrolling through the I can see the UX is live. It's moving,
Yeah,
You're showing me the interactions. I think this is really it's so effective. I think this is so
yeah,
effective because and it just keeps spinning, and I don't think it's heavy to load, and you're actually showing it at the same time on desktop and mobile next to each other. It's so cool. And I think it's a really powerful way to show. So how do you get that? Do you just record your screen and just like
yeah. Screen recording with permission, of course.
mm,
Uh, Screen recording, and if the MP4 file is too big, you can convert that into a GIF, and you can
yep.
condense it. This is about 500 kilobytes.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing, and I think more people should do that because
It's very quick.
they say an image tells what it was 1,000 words or whatever,
Yeah,
but a video tells like a million,
yeah. And
So
this is even something that I'm also improving on. So you know how if you go on a showcase website and then you click on a certain section of the desktop or the mobile and the video zooms in on that bit and it's more interactive, more dynamic. Um,
hmm
that's a lot
yeah.
more effective than a simple screen recording with static. I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. If you have one of these dynamic videos, that grabs the attention so much more than just a picture or words. The worst
Mm.
thing you can do in your portfolio is just write a really long chunk of text saying, yeah, good, like actually funny example. I used to have a friend at university who's, you know how CVs have to be structured? This is a perfect example. You
Yeah.
know how CVs, I love this story. You know how CVs are meant to be structured with your face, your phone number, what you've done, your experience, your education. I had a friend at university whose CV was a cover letter. It was just a long essay, and it started with
Oh
good
my
morning.
God.
And it started with good morning because he wrote it in the morning. That was his CV. It
Wow.
always it's one of my favorite stories because he was asking guys, can we get some feedback on can I get some feedback on my CV? Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. And he loaded it up with this Google document that started with good morning, and all five of us just instantly burst out laughing.
Wow.
Your portfolio is
Wow.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the same with the long case studies, I think that we were just talking about.
yeah, yeah.
And I wanted to close kind of this discussion with a question about I think it's a lot easier to present, or that's my initial kind of thinking. I think it's a lot easier to present visual work as it is
Mhm.
visual, right? You get the visual stuff and you put them and then you add words to it and you present it and it's clear. Obviously, if you use the right words and the right visuals, but how do you present UX writing work, copy? How do you do that in an engaging way? How have you thought? Definitely, I think you have thought on that, and I'm just thinking about somebody who's thinking on that. What would you advise them? Or how do you do that in an engaging kind of way?
Yeah, that's tricky. Um, because design work, it seems a lot easier because if you've added things to a design system or put them together in an interface, you show off that work. Showing off words, it's a really strong question, actually. It's a different ball game. I can show you some examples. So if we go to the
Yep.
showcase, um, so my input in this project um, was this copy here. Remove the brake pad spacer from the brake caliper. So it's instructional copy. Those were the deliverables per stage. It's very short, it's very concise. Again, it relates to the iceberg analogy of this is the result of lots and lots of testing and iterations. In the end, you have extend the reader earlier. Boom, that's your deliverable.
Hmm.
Show the mock-up. Show what the copy looks like in practice, and also show the impact of your copy. Because one of the most important elements that leads to one of the most sensitive elements that leads to impact is are the words. I'll show you another case study actually, which I think is a good example. It's the one at Pizzonio, identifying category labels. This is one of my first projects working in UX writing. By the way, UX writing isn't just adding words at the end, which it isn't. It's also research. You use real life research practices in order to show deliverables. And the deliverables in this case were This is German, but the deliverables were the words employees over directory, time off over leaves. Those were the deliverables per category. So you show the process there. So as part of this project, I was responsible for coming up with a research process of how do we identify these unvalidated terms. So if you have terms like that are just thrown out there in a meeting at 4:55 on a Friday, because in most companies, even big companies, that's how category terms come about. But if you have a massive tool like Pozonior with hundreds of thousands, even millions of users, the difference between, as I mentioned earlier on in the call, the difference between vacations and holidays, depending on where you are, is a huge, huge difference. And that's what this research is all about. Um, so my process was about adding GIFs and comparing them with each other. So even though the deliverables are just terms which are added into the product in a backend somewhere, this is what you can show as part of your process. It's the process you added. Doesn't have to be super pretty screens, but as long as you give the user some kind of reference point, like this is how we tested with users and this was the material that we showed with them. That's also a great way. It doesn't have to be the final finished article. It can be, yeah, this is from Excel. But this is also just as effective as showing in the portfolio as a finished mock-up, for example.
Totally agree because
That's a strong
this,
example, I'd say.
yeah, this was great. Thank you so much. Like, definitely, I think we can close this by saying that, yeah, pretty screens attract the eye,
Mm.
and it's all good when you have them, but real product people and product designers, they know that it's not about pretty screens.
Oh,
A lot of us have worked with organizations and stuff where it's not about it being pretty, it's about it being functional. It's about it pushing the bottom line for the business and really giving out impact. And nobody cares if your, banking app looks brighter and like colorful and like editorial and like you have this little creature that talks to you, the AI, whatever. No, I care about it working and I care
yeah.
about it working well and me not having to think about it and then um doing the task and the thing that I had in mind with it successfully
Mhm.
without any blockages and any things, for example. And
Mm.
that's the magic. And sometimes telling that story is a bit hard, but I like that you have put these kind of raw screenshots of, Excel tables and research kind of analysis and results. I think that's really powerful because it actually adds a lot of realistic re, like realisticness. What's the word?
Realistic process, maybe.
Yeah. It just makes everything very real. I see that you actually did it, and the people that know this, they will be attracted by it because, if you are attracted by the flashy, cool kind of visuals and stuff, um, that might not necessarily help your business.
Mm.
In a lot of cases, it's not going to help your business, your app being beautiful. If it's not working well, it doesn't mean anything. And real kind of professionals, they understand this. So
Yeah,
that's like a message to everybody watching this that, it doesn't need to be super pretty and beautiful. On the opposite, it can be ugly at points because you want to make a point of maybe
yeah,
what it used to be or how you didn't rely on beautiful UI to make quick UX fixes that actually
yeah.
brought impact. Okay, that's actually so powerful.
Can I give another? Sorry, this is burning on my mind. Can I just give a
Yeah,
perfect example what summarized what you said there?
yeah,
You know how, by the way, I'm not un I'm also comfortable with calling out companies that don't care about design because hear me out, because that's also a choice. Companies could care about design. Some companies
yeah.
don't care about design. Um,
Mm,
Going back to the example of the designs and the feeling doesn't have to be super pretty as long as the usability works. Sorry, going, I'm sure the Desi Car Bank won't mind. That going back to the example of it doesn't have to be super flashy. You know how there's a new campaign at the minute with Desi Car Bank? I'm calling them out because they're a big conglomerate. You have Tulkesega everywhere and nice new visuals and nice new UI. It's all clean. It's a different shade of green. There's a piggy bank which was made of AI. It's all fantastic and nice. Brilliant. Like the online banking still doesn't work after 10 p.m. and there are no error message if something goes bad, which leads me to believe that maybe my account's been hacked, which is a really big worry, which is a fundamental usability flaw. Focus on those things first and like cool transactions are not movements because their transactions are not movements, rather than adding a super flashing new marketing campaign because I'm not going to use this bank anymore because of their attitude towards design. And no marketing campaign is ever going to get me to change that because the product doesn't work deliberately. So that
Mm.
I think summarizes that perfectly.
I mean, you're making a good point overall, generally. I've actually worked with them. It's such a complex environment to navigate over there. There are so many challenges to be solved that they have such incredible designs and things and workflows and they're actually the organization that I've seen that does the most usability testing out of everybody. They're every week they have people coming over physically, users for interviews for usability tests. So their design teams. Um, I don't know about anyone else, but I've worked with their and I know some of their designers, incredible designers and very good design teams, and
Yep.
that they really think about it in a lot of depth and they put a lot of effort. It's just that it's so much organizational hierarchy,
Yep.
structural complexity, entangled in years of decision making, and stuff,
Yep.
and so many things to solve technically to get them there. Because when I speak to them, they're very open about and they're very real and they really understand the problems that they have. They're just doing the best with what they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think even if we're not talking about them, but just overall, I think this is a good point to make that, usability is simple and no pretty UI or pretty images or whatever is gonna beat that if usability is not there first.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going for the pretty without
Yeah.
having solved the basic
Yeah.
the basic thing working and being there for you when
Yeah.
you need it. And so getting your priorities straight is really important. And that's where strategic decision making and
Exactly.
voicing out stuff comes out. And that's where I think UX designers are very because like you can even help a company achieve so much without having designed anything. You
Mm.
just talk to them. You're just going in meetings and you are being very strategic and you are being very tactical and you
Yeah.
are being very effective in the way that you communicate, in the way that you speak, in the way that you point out things, and helping them switch direction. This is to me, that's
Yeah.
bigger and better and more powerful than any beautiful UI out there, Being able
Yeah.
to change
Yeah.
somebody's opinion and actually pointing them in the right direction is so
Yeah.
so
No, no.
powerful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the point was more about the structure of a company because I'm sure the designers are aware of the issue that there's no error message for the online banking after 10 p.m. It just reads HTTPS 505 bad gateway, which is like, but if you have a big organization like that, there are more hoops to jump through, and you're only so powerful to make a change.
Yeah.
If top management doesn't want to play ball, then you can't really do anything
Mm.
because I'm sure adding an error state for an online banking platform that doesn't work after 10 p.m. I don't know why it doesn't. Just a reason why it doesn't work after 10 p.m. when you log into online banking would make such a difference. Even just a tiny little error state. But yeah, I'm sure it's always like that in banks and financial institutions. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, and yeah,
Tell
but
me
that's
about it.
the
I'm
example.
coming I'm
Yeah,
coming from one in my previous job, and that was the reason that I left. I The way that I explained to Yapo one of the reasons that I want to leave was the way that I put it was I was like, I am so passionate, so excited, I have so much love for the craft and for what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I want to run. I want to run freely. I want to be able to make some decisions. I want to be able to push things. I want to be able to make things happen.
Yeah.
And over there, I was just like chained. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Anything that I want to do, I have to ask for access and wait for that for 2 weeks. Everybody wants me to be slow. Everybody wants me to move like
That's,
super slowly, and I want to run. I want to run. I want to hop on a jet and just explode and just go
yeah.
like full speed. And I wasn't able to do that over there. And
Yeah.
it was sad for me that I had to leave because it was a great team, amazing people over there, but just this organizational, structural, hierarchical, like complexity and like all
Hmm.
these levels of approval and decision making that then every little thing needs to pass through. This is what kills an organization, I think. This is what helps. This is what prevents huge organizations for making big leaps in being in innovation and being on
Yeah.
top of things. And this is what actually helps small startups to absolutely demolish them in terms of usability, in terms of how they work, in terms of being innovative and actually
Yeah.
doing something different. And that's how it goes. I mean, this is not anything new. We've seen this before. We're gonna keep seeing this is the natural process of things. I think everything in the universe is meant to start somewhere and end somewhere,
Mm.
you know? And I feel like it's the same with organizations. I don't think that any single organization should just live forever, even though we have a few that are not kind of coming down, but it's what happens. Every single company's reason is to make more money all the time. It's
Yeah.
never enough. There is no end goal. It's always more and more and more, which means always more and more people on board, which means more and more complexity. And the more complicated everything becomes, the slower it starts moving. And at some point, it just destroys itself from the inside in a way.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just a natural way of things, and
It's already happening. I was about to raise the point that, when people talk about neobanks like Revolut or the UK, it's Monzo. I used to live in Germany for a long time, and people they use N26, which is Germany's version of Monzo. And people would be excited talking about N26 because of the features they have through their tech innovation. For example, did you know back now you can pause any card? But back in 2018, this was groundbreaking shit. Like, oh, do you know if you see a transaction on your that you don't recognize, where you can just pause your card and then you're like, oh yeah, no, that was the coffee I bought at this mall. Yeah, I can unfreeze my card again. Whereas if you go through a traditional brick and mortar bank, you have to go through every single transaction and it will read something like POS at this terminal, and then you feel of anxiety.
aha.
Like, have I been hacked by some kind of mafia? Do they have my card details? But it's these neobanks give you a sense of control, and that's what people like because this aligns with user needs. The same with Monzo. Like, did you know that not working for Monzo, but did you know that if you send a transaction for the wrong amount by mistake, which people do, they've just woken up and they have to send money and they send the wrong amount. I'm not ashamed to share that I actually did this a few months ago. I accidentally added another digit. So instead of
Oh,
adding 100, I sent, luckily it was to the right person. It wasn't to a fraudster or anything, but I sent another digit. So instead of, it was over €1,000, but luckily the organization is trustworthy and they sent it back. But with Monzo, you have the feature that you can undo the transaction within a minute. So you can just press, if,
wow.
if I use Monzo, I could be like, oh shit, no, 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 I don't want to send €1,000. Boom, that comes back.
I love
Whereas
that.
with it's amazing, and that is if there was a subscription for this feature, I would pay for it, and that is what's going to make banks money. I don't care about how much the bank invests in the Nasdaq or the FTSE. All I care about is that the bank keeps my money safe and that's usable, and I can just send my friend a transaction in the car for petrol before he's even paid for the petrol. I don't want to go to the teller and be like, I would like to cash in this check. Oh, yes, excellent. This will reach your account in 2 weeks. It's just not user intuitive. And big banks are already being bitten in the ass by this through shitty
Mm.
innovation. particularly in Germany as well. Deutsche Bank is now playing catch up because of the pressure from the neobanks. Like N26 from ING DiBa was a pretty innovative one, but they're from the Netherlands, which is pretty common. And N26 and Revolut. So all the other banks are playing catch up from the impact of design at neobanks. So it really does have the power to impact the market to improve users' lives.
Yep.
So the user can undo a €1,000 mistaken transaction, and this will get more and more normal as companies want to not lose out. Because at the end of the day, they want to keep making money. And how do you do that? From having customers. You don't make any money from a bank that has no customers because there's no money to invest. So yeah, that's a brilliant point. I think the banking sector is the prime case study that of the impact of design. As I
Mm.
mentioned before, like Desikai uses the word movements instead of transactions, which caught me out for a long time. Then I'm like, why didn't they just use transactions? Again, that's not the fault of the designer. That's the fault of upper management who probably live in the Cayman Islands somewhere listening to Chattanooga, but that's another thing.
Well, this would probably open another like big topic, which I think for now
Yeah, let's do
yeah. So let's just not go. Let's not go in there. But like, I think this overall this was a great conclusion to our call, which lasted up for quite long, longer than I expected. But to me that was really I really enjoyed this. It was uh, really enjoyed that this call. I think we spoke about a lot of great things. I learned quite a lot from you, and I think you're a great professional. And I think you have a lot to share that will help people. And that was the point of this call. And I think you did. I think people are really gonna find this valuable, and they'll probably come and text you if they see this and ask you questions, which I think you're open for.
Yeah,
So
always,
I
always.
really thank you, Ben, for agreeing to do this with me, and being so open about everything, and not keeping anything away, and really investing so much time as well. So
Yeah, no worries. This is was one of my passions. So I'm a designer because I love it.
yeah,
So there's a
you're a
reason I
designer because
transitioned
you
to
love
design.
it.
Yeah. So
Same with me.
it's hard and the market is really rough, but that's a challenge and I genuinely love it. It's very dopamine emitting.
Yeah, I mean,
Very addictive.
if you're in this because you think it's easy, it's not the right motivation, right? Because I don't think anything good in life is easy. But if you're in it because you're interested in it and you like it and you think, you can bring something to the table, and, you enjoy creating experiences for people and seeing how they will impact their lives, or even just a tiny little bit, that is really nice feeling. And I think we should be in for that, because we could be adding little improvements. And if you're not improving something, then I mean, and making something better, then what are you doing,
Yeah.
in a way. So yeah, once again, thank you, Ben. This was
All right.
really cool. I really appreciate your time. We'll keep in touch. Let's close it here, and wish you have a great day. And yeah, as I said, we'll stay connected.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks for having the call. I also learned a lot from yourself. And yeah, it was a very constructive discussion. And I hope it brings that tiny little bit of value somewhere as
Oh,
well.
I bet definitely. We'll see. So
Cool.
awesome. Thank you, man. Enjoy
See you,
your
man.
day.
Ciao, ciao, bye.
Bye. Bye.